Let's try and take you back to Krugersdorp now, and this is where the Gauteng police are back at the scene where 19 bodies were found yesterday, and these are believed to be suspected illegal miners. Let's talk to our colleague now, Mnisi, who is at the scene. Linda, good morning to you. It does appear that you may possibly have further developments around this story this morning. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Well, indeed, Oli, police are back at the scene for more search and rescue operations. As you can see behind me, it's still cordoned off and people not allowed, of course, to go on the other side, of possibly what looks, from where I'm standing, like an area of mining. We're told it's just next to an active mine, and that's the signs are there, but what you're seeing on your screen right now is, of course, police who have been combing through the scene. And I believe at this moment, from what we've been hearing on the ground, there could be another development to the story, but they've told us that the police will, in a short while, release a statement about, this operation itself and what it has been able to, or the outcomes of this operation. At this moment, police have been busy. I mean, I'm seeing cars from the search and rescue operations. I'm also seeing cars from the emergency services. You'll remember that yesterday, this discovery was made at around 3 o'clock, and it looks like people from the forensics are arriving. You're seeing them there on your screens, putting on those suits. Perhaps another indication of that statement that I made earlier on, that there could possibly be more developments to this story, and maybe another discovery. Could it be that more bodies have been found? Well, we wait for the police to give us official confirmation, but I can tell you right now there has been a major development here on the ground. And as you would have seen yesterday, police saying that the call was made at around 3 o'clock, and this discovery was made at around 3 o'clock. And then, of course, they called for backup, which were mortuary vans who came. From the information we've been able to gather as well, Poli, we understand that there were about 5, mortuary vehicles that came to, of course, collect the bodies that were discovered in this area. I just want my colleague Olani and I to get closer to, of course, the forensics, what I believe are a team from forensics. Obviously, when they get into the scene, in order not to contaminate the scene, they would, of course, be dressed in those bodysuits that you're seeing on your screen. I just want to bring into this conversation one community leader. Thank you so much for your time. You're live on Newzroom Afrika. You'll give us your name and your surname, and you'll give us a sense of what you make of these developments here.
I'm Andre Shannon, and I'm the Vice Chairman of West Village Community Forum. As this is approximately 7 kilometers from us, we are, as you all know, very, very upset about the whole issue of what happened with the rape cases and those that's now thrown out. Safety is a major concern for us in the community, and for something like this to happen is really not what we would like to happen in our area. But as I say, this is far away, and I think it's very, very important that at this stage, the Minister of Police, as well as the Minister of Mineral and Energy, as well as the Minister of the Army, etc., come together and make one unit and decide what they want to do here. Do they want to have it as a legal mining operation and make it formal so that the country can get money from it and the people can get official work? or do they want to go on with criminal activity as it is at this stage?
All right, I want to thank you so much for your time. So those are the reflections then from community members. You would have seen we also spoke to one community leader earlier today, Nicolene Trom, who said that it's unclear at this point what could have led to this moment. The number of speculation and suspicions of what could possibly be happening on the ground. One of the suspicions is that perhaps the illegal miners could be fighting amongst themselves, but of course that is not yet confirmed. But they're also saying that they're seeing more and more of the illegal miners coming back into their community. As that gentleman that I've just spoken to has mentioned, West Village, where these rapes that took place a few months ago happened, is not very far, Xoli, from where we are standing right now. In fact, it is, of course, somewhat a walking distance from West Village, but quite a distance, at least, from the mine tailing where the incident happened. But it's more of like a 5-minute drive, and that tells you then that the community is now on high alert. They're quite concerned about their safety and the safety of those they live with, of their loved ones. So police will be able then to confirm to us what they've discovered here, but these are the scenes that we're seeing play out at the moment.
I totally appreciate, and I think the viewers will be of the same view as well, that we cannot say anything definitive at the moment, but the conversation you have just had with that community leader, he is alluding to possible retaliatory attacks as a result of the rape case, which, by the way, has now fallen apart, at least for the time being. But what we can say for certain here, Linda, is that what is in front of us, the pictures you're beaming to us, we are seeing, if I counted correctly, at least 3 body bags. That gives us clues that indeed perhaps there has been more bodies that have been discovered. I then add that, Linda, to the 5 mortuary vans that you say were ordered earlier. Does that give us some clues as to the figure of 19 bodies that were discovered yesterday that possibly will now have grown the number of dead bodies discovered there?
All indications on the ground, Oli, point to the fact that there could possibly be more bodies discovered here on the ground. What you're describing to us, yes, is indeed what we're seeing from where we're standing, but also you'll appreciate the fact that we are not in a position to get closer in order to get a sense of whether or not those are indeed bodies that are in those bags that you're seeing on your screen right now. And from where we are and from the conversations we've been hearing here on the ground, it seems there could possibly be more bodies that have been, discovered. And that is why they've seen it necessary or deemed it necessary to, of course, call on the spokespersons of the SAPS to come on the ground to then give us official word on what exactly is happening. Your point on the important part of, retaliation, possible retaliation from community members, and you're reminding me of a conversation that I had with one community leader this morning who was saying what they're also watching closely is how the police minister will react to what is happening in their area. You'll remember not so long ago, there was the Fine Town situation, and what they are saying is that they listened to the promises that were made by the police minister there, and what the police minister also promised was the deployment of the Red Berets, and they're saying that is exactly what they were also promised in their area, but it seems that never really materialized, because here they are once again discovering bodies in their community. Not so long ago, it was rapes, and there were a number of promises that were made. The police minister came on the ground to speak to residents. They even went as far as having an imbizo to really speak about the issues on the ground and how they can tackle the issue around illegal mining that seems to have gripped their area. But now what they're saying is that they're watching closely what will happen, because they were also made promises. And what they're saying also, Toli, is that if the Red Berets are deployed to the Finetown area, then it means that there is a serious cover-up that is happening in their own area.
Linda, this is one story that we, at least for the last couple of months, couple of years, it has troubled South Africa for some time, and the police authorities are going to be hard-pressed to tell us that they are on top of this situation here, because they are clearly not. More bodies being discovered, and I'm suddenly reminded of a conversation I had with the Minister of Mineral Resources, who said that, look, if we were to close down the mines, the illegal mines that have been left open by previous owners, it would be highly irresponsible of us as government to do that, because those are human beings that are possibly underground, and therefore there has to be some coordinated fashion that is carried out here to make sure that people are not killed, but more importantly, the whole issue of illegal mining is eradicated. At the moment, as things stand, Linda, if that conversation you have just had with the community leader is anything to go by, it would appear that the miners have swiftly come back to do what they have been doing for the last couple of months, couple of years. They have returned, or are possibly slowly returning, to illegal mining. And that makes communities a bit uneasy. And as you and I speculate at the moment, we are not sure whether these bodies are being discovered as a result of illegal miners fighting among themselves, or this could be the community deciding, as they did at the discovery of that particular case, the rape case. I think this was in August. The question here, Linda, is whether or not the communities are probably going to come out on the streets again to tell us that they are now taking matters into their own hands, because illegal miners are returning. If indeed what we were being told this morning by the community leader you've spoken to is true, that they are returning, because then the community has reason to worry, and the community will have a reason to justify their actions to say, we are now taking matters into our own hands again because police are failing at their job.
Indeed, Oli, you've hit it on the nail, because it formed part of the conversation that we had earlier with these community leaders. You see there on your screen, police going through those bags with the photographer from the forensics, and they're opening them up. It seems from where I'm standing, those are indeed body bags, and you see that photographer there taking pictures. This, of course, forms part of evidence gathering from the police's perspective when they do their investigations. As you would know, the police have opened an inquest docket. They're saying they are not suspecting any foul play, and it would be interesting to really see, if we could see through those lenses, what it looks like there, because one of the important points would be, or one of the important questions would be, whether or not those people or the bodies that they discovered here had any visible injuries. What are police seeing that makes them doubt that there could have been any foul play here? And what at this point makes them say it is an inquest docket and there are no reasons at this particular point to be probing, for example, a murder case. But back to your question earlier, the residents are saying that it's clear that the situation is, or the authorities are not on top of things here, because they're seeing how the illegal miners are slowly coming back to the area after that crackdown, that mass crackdown that we saw earlier this year. In August, what they saw was, illegal miners going into hiding because there was a massive crackdown. But they're saying now it seems they are coming back in their numbers, and it seems they have a way in which they operate, because she was describing and demonstrating to us, how they operate. For example, if they want to go to a nearby shop, and they wouldn't go alone, they would need to be accompanied by others in order to look out for members of the SAPS. But what was clear about what she was telling us earlier was that it's clear that they are coming back, which means that there's still more of them in these bushes, because there are major bushes and the area is surrounded by mining companies, who are, some others are closed and others are still active. But you'll also remember that the responsibility will also lie on the mining companies. In a case of disused or abandoned mine, they have the responsibility of rehabilitating those mines and closing the shafts and making sure that it is safe for people, because also it is not only the deaths and the murders that happen in these illegal mines or abandoned mines, but it's also the dangers of the radioactive material that then flows into the communities, causing more health issues for community members. I think if you speak to an organization like the Benchmarks Foundation, they'll tell you more about the impact the mines have on communities, and in instances where they are not protected, obviously issues of crime then become rampant.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much for this elongated conversation that you and I have had to have this morning, but it is possibly a developing story. Linda Mnisi, I'm going to allow you time to try and get to the police spokespeople, because we certainly need more information. But as you and I have been speculating, it does appear that more bodies have been discovered, and the police saying that these are bodies that appear to have been moved from one area and dumped where Linda is at the moment. Yesterday, the police talking to us, or the police saying that they have discovered 19 bodies, and today, with those body bags there, it most certainly is confirmation that more bodies clearly have been discovered. But I suppose the question is, what is going to bring to an end what we are seeing in the country, and that is the whole practice of illegal mining. It's dangerous, and it ends up with people losing their lives.